Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious.
Hey there, this is HanDIYman 007, and today I'm going to show you how I transformed this dilapidated parquet flooring built in the 1980s into a modern, water-resistant surface that looks like wood but isn't wood. And I did it for this entire 12.7 square meter bedroom without special tools in under 6 hours and for just 3,100 pesos. Now, if you have a similar floor situation where you want it completely overhauled for so long but are being held back by the steep cost of labor and materials, then this is the video for you. You ready? Let's go! Okay, like most typical Filipino families back in the 80s, our parents brought us up with household chores. Even today, I believe it's one of those parenting best practices to instill our kids with a sense of responsibility and build confidence in accomplishing bigger and bigger tasks. Because we either had to rotate chores or do them together, I could even say that chores strengthened the bond among myself and my brothers. We did it all, from watering the plants, setting the dining table, to cleaning it up, to washing the dishes, to doing the laundry, to folding our clothes, to making our beds, dusting the furnitures, cleaning the windows, and a whole bunch of other regular and seasonal chores. But if there's one chore I'll never forget, it's keeping our floor sparkling clean, because it's easier said than done. You see, back in the 80s, wooden floors, specifically parquet flooring, was a thing. And it wasn't enough to just sweep it. We had to use a bunot, a surface cleaning tool made of dried coconut husk. With one foot applying constant downward pressure, we had to swing it back and forth until we covered every square inch of our entire flooring. Because using bunot was essentially light sanding the floor, we then had to sweep the floor with a broom and finally wipe it down with floor wax to give it that signature shine. And we had to do this every week to keep our floor clean. Yes, it was tedious, but it gave us one heck of a workout every time. But as the years turned into decades and we grew older and our time and energy were demanded by the busyness of everyday life, it became harder and harder to sustain wooden floors like this. And to be honest, even if budget wasn't an issue and we had this parquet flooring fully restored to look brand new, it will always give me a certain gloomy and dark vibe compared to more modern flooring options and colors that I have been exposed to nowadays. So today, it's not even a question of restoring it. The question now becomes, what can we replace it with? And what eventually satisfied all my criteria and topped my shortlist was this Anyware self-adhesive vinyl flooring planks. Because it's made of vinyl, the wooden patterns and colors were just synthetically printed on its surface. In other words, it combines the look and feel of wood with the durability and water resistance of plastic. And because it behaves like a sticker, we don't have to endure the hassle of using adhesive to install it, which also meant zero waiting time for anything to dry, making the floor usable instantly. At the time, a box of 40 planks was being sold at 1,320 pesos or $25.41. Factoring in the dimensions of each plank, I needed to order 2 boxes. Upon checkout, I received additional discounts and ended up paying 3,102 pesos and 80 cents or $59.74 for everything. Doing the math, it only cost me 244 pesos and 31 cents or $4.70 per square meter to effectively cover this 12 square meter bedroom, which was fantastic from a budget perspective. Of course, the first thing I did was carefully read the installation steps printed on the box. And step 0 is preparing the floor surface. So either sweep the entire floor or vacuum it. Since I was busy doing something else at the time, I had a robot vacuum, Jarvis, do it for me. It's also imperative that you mop the floor with water to remove any stubborn dirt and oily residue. This will give the vinyl planks a better surface to strongly adhere to later on. But will mopping impact this parquet flooring? Sure, but it doesn't really matter now. Once fully dried, we're going to cover it anyway, and that's the whole point of this project. By the way, if you have parquet flooring, I'm sure you can relate to this situation where some tiles would just pop out. This is something you have to fix first before covering with the vinyl planks. You want the surface underneath the vinyl planks as stable and flush as possible so a spot doesn't sink nor bump every time you step on it.
Give me two.
Okay, before I show you how to actually install the vinyl planks, I need to emphasize how and where you should position the first vinyl plank. The manufacturer instructions said to choose any corner of the room as a starting point. Now, how you square the first plank in respect to a wall will dictate how the rest of the adjoining planks will orient themselves across the entire room. And when you reach the areas where you need to cut the length and or the width of the plank shorter to fill up the remaining space, it's going to be quick and easy because all you need are straight cuts. In contrast, if you missed properly orienting the first plank and proceeded to stick the adjoining planks, it will look more and more catastrophic as you go. The flooring and the walls will look very out of sync and visually assaulting. Not to mention the extra time and effort to cut a lot of irregular shapes to fill up the remaining floor space. Also, because you're cutting more irregular shapes than originally anticipated, there's a high chance that you'll need to buy more planks to compensate for the wastage. Okay, a perfect square or rectangular room all looks good on screen, but in reality, some rooms, like the one in this video, were not built with 90-degree corners and straight walls. So how do you place the first plank? Well, you still start from the corner and choose a wall to use as a reference point and work outwards from there. Yes, you'll probably still end up needing to cut irregular shapes towards the end, but it will be minimal. And because the planks together are oriented in respect to at least one straight wall, everything will still look cohesive. At this point, we've already covered about 40% of the floor, and the room is beginning to give off a more positive vibe. For this project, I decided to use a straight layout because it has a more modern look, simpler to install, and optimizes my planks to floor area ratio. Unlike a staggered layout, also known as an offset layout, which looks more traditional, produces more unusable planks in the end, and is a bit complicated to install. As you can see, once you stick the planks onto the parquet tiles, they're not coming off easily unless you intentionally use force to peel them off, which is good in case you need to correct a mistake. Now, this is what one whole vinyl plank looks like, and underneath is the adhesive side protected by this paper liner. The arrows that you see indicates the direction of the grain or pattern on the opposite side. This helps you position all the planks in one direction to make everything look cohesive. In this case, I've made all these planks to point towards the side of the door. By the way, this is not just a printed wood pattern. It actually has texture, which sustains traction or grip, preventing the floor from becoming slippery when wet. To install a plank, take note of the arrows before peeling off the protective liner, or have someone help you peel it off. This exposes the black adhesive side. Carefully set the plank on the floor while pushing it as flush as possible towards the edges of the adjoining planks. Once you are good with your placement, apply pressure all over the plank by rubbing it, slapping it, or even stepping on it. Now, for areas where a whole plank won't fit anymore, I found it surprisingly easy to make custom pieces. I just made the necessary measurements with a pencil and used another plank as my straight edge to draw my cut line. Because each plank is just 2 millimeters thick, a box cutter was more than enough to accomplish the task. Once I had a right size piece, then it was just a matter of following the same installation procedure. Although at this point, I found it less painful to use a rubber mallet instead of my bare hands to pound the planks in place. This is a plank I custom cut so it could wrap cleanly around that part of the door jamb. This area by the doorway that leads out to the hallway required shorter planks. At this point, I found it even easier to use a pair of scissors instead of a box cutter. It gave me better control and produced even cleaner cut lines. Always dry fit a piece first before actually sticking it on. This gives you a chance to spot corrections and make cut adjustments. At this point, only 5% of the room was left to be covered, and we also had to start returning stuff to their proper places. Finally, after about 5.5 hours and installing 80 self-adhesive vinyl planks, this is what everything looks like. I filmed this project on December 30, 2021, so it's already been about 2 months since then, and this vinyl flooring has been exceeding our expectations. The planks continue to adhere to the floor firmly, their colors remain consistent, and above all, they require very little effort to keep clean and shiny.
I'm checking the shot. At the shot. I'm checking the shot, Daddy. Where are you looking? There? There? There?